Welcome back, everybody, to the Inside Track Podcast, Equibase's weekly handicapping podcast, analyzing feature races of the week, as well as selections and wagers. I'm your host, Ben Kudla, with the Equibase Company, and I'm joined again today by Ellis Star, who's Equibase's National Racing Analyst with decades of handicapping experience, blogs, and articles. And you can follow him on X at UberCapper. So thank you, Ellis, for being back on the show.
Hey, my pleasure. It's a great weekend of summer racing, and looks like we got 3 great races to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we just dive right in, we're going to get a promotion going. So on Equibase, for an annual subscription of Race Lens, you can get that for just $699 and save $300. And that promo code will be in the video description down below. Amazing handicapping tool. We both use it daily, and we have found brilliant angles. So it's definitely worth the money for any serious handicapper or anyone who's just getting in the game. So anyway, let's just dive right in. So today we have a great show handicapping the Grade 1 Alabama Stakes at Saratoga, the $1 million Kings Plate at Woodbine, and the Grade 1 Del Mar Oaks. So let's start with the Alabama, going 1.25 miles on the dirt for 3-year-old fillies. Got a field of 8. Last year's winner was randomized for trainer Chad Brown with Joel Rosario in the irons. Absolutely romped by 4 lengths, running 107 Equibase speed figure at odds of 7-1. So who do you got this year for the 3-year-old fillies?
Well, obviously, it's a really good race, with a lot of fillies with some class. I mean, Chadless, who won the Indiana Oaks. You've got, of course, the favorite Candide coming off a second to Torpedo Anna. But I'm going to take a price as a key here, and this is the 8 Neon Icon, one of only 2 horses in the race that have run 1.25 miles, which is a good thing. She did that in her second start. She was 2 for 2. She won her second race easily by 5 lengths. She extended her margin nicely in the stretch in that 1.25 mile first level allowance race in May off a win at 1.16 miles. So she's got no breeding for sprints because she's by Arrogate out of a Medaglia d'Oro mare, and she ran really good. And then she went to the Indiana Oaks in a race won by Chadless. And we're going to come back and watch this race in just a second. And then she ran crappy. But I want to go back to this 1.25 mile race in which the 1.25 mile race, and just about the stretch run's okay, but this is good too, in which she sits second here. She was the heavy favorite under Saez, and she makes a move, and she really goes on. She's ridden out, a lot of gas left in the tank. And the fact that Saez is getting back on is really the key for me here. Neon Icon is going to be the 7 in this race. She's taking over, and you can see how easily she's breezing here. I think the poor race in the Indiana Oaks was a measure of Chadless just going wire to wire in that race, which may not happen today, but I think Saez can do the same thing he did in this race in which he stalks. He'll stalk Chadless from the outside and break her. The fact is Chadless hasn't gone further than 1.16 miles. And this filly wanted 1.25 miles. As you can see here, she's pretty much ridden out. She's never going to be asked for much at the end. And that was a 92 Equibase speed figure. Not as much as some of the others, but I think it's a big difference for her. The Saez thing really is what has me keyed on her, and 15-1 as well. So she's a top pick. I think. Yep, great price, and especially in a race like this. May not be as big, but people will be looking at that last race that was really bad and say, oh, that maiden race, that allowance race was just an allowance race. But I think the allowance race is more representative of what she can do today, particularly as she's by Arrogate. Candide, the 7-5 favorite, really has no knocks. As you mentioned earlier, she ran second to Torpedo Anna. That's like winning a race. Torpedo Anna is arguably the best 3-year-old male or female in the country right now.
1,000,000%.
So, no, absolutely correct. And so running second to her, she was 4 clear of Intricate in that race. Before that, she won the Lady's Secret with a 104 Equibase speed figure, which is actually the fastest race in the field. 7-5 is a little low for a win bet, but she's not a vulnerable favorite. And then Just Basking, the other horse in the race, number 4, who has run 1.25 miles and won at 1.25 miles. She won a maiden race at Churchill in April, so about a month before Neon Icon did. She ran a little slower with an 86 figure, but it was a powerful effort in which she rallied from 10th into a moderate pace, 112 and change for 6 furlongs, not fast. She rallied into it and won by 7. She ran poorly after that in the first level allowance, but then she rebounded to win the Iowa Oaks. So that was good. It was a strong effort. She's by Arrogate, definitely 10 furlongs right up her alley. So my plays in the race are to box Candy to Neon Icon and Candy Just Basking, just because you want to get more value out of the favorite. So you want to play more exacta boxes with Candy, but then a small exacta box of Neon Icon Just Basking. So it's not a 3-horse exacta box exactly, because we're playing the combinations of Candy Neon Icon box and the Candy Just Basking box for more money, because they're going to pay less. So you want to get the same payout. That's the way I see the Alabama.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, it's interesting. You're on the 2 Arrogate horses who both have gone this distance of 1.25 miles. I still have no idea what to think of that Just Basking horse. I mean, I want to like him, and then sometimes I look at her, I don't want to like her. It'll be interesting. I'm so excited for this race. I'm going to go a little different. I'm going to go with Power Squeeze here with the morning line of 9-2. I know the speed's a little worrisome, but I'll tell you why I like her. So Jorge Delgado and Javier Castellano win at 40% in graded stakes races together in the last 3 years. 2 wins from 5 starts, 3 in the money. I don't know, Power Squeeze, she's won 5 of her last starts. Only losses were to Torpedo Anna, one on the sloppy track and one on the grade 1 Acorn Stakes. And she beat Ways and Means back in March in the Gulfstream Park Oaks, and we just saw Ways and Means win that grade 1 test at Saratoga back on August 3rd. She's beaten American Vow twice. I don't know how much merit you want to put on that, but she did. A little concerned about the speed, but I mean, this is a really nice filly, and I think she's going to show up on Saturday and hopefully get a decent price, but I have kind of a feeling she's going to be bet down a little bit more than she should be. The second, I definitely agree with you, the Candied. Grade 1 Alcibiades winner last October at Keeneland, came back to run 3rd by just 3/4 of a length in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. Second to Torpedo Anna last time out in the CCA Oaks, and like you said, that's basically a win against anybody else. Todd Pletcher wins at 38% in the last 5 years in the stakes races at Saratoga with horses of a morning line of 2-1 or under, 14 wins from 37 starts. He's actually quite the opposite with horses that are not the morning line favorite. So that's another reason I like her. But yeah, I mean, she's barely done anything wrong. We might, still have yet to see the best of her. So the one reason I'm picking her for second instead of first, Todd Pletcher and Manny Franco are 0 for 10 in graded stakes races together in the last 3 years. So, and Manny Franco has never even won on her. He only had 1 start in the CCA Oaks, but did not win. I like her, but I think she's going to be way over bet. So I'm going to go elsewhere. And third, I was teetering on this one, but I'm going to go with Intricate, the only horse in this race who ever beat Torpedo Anna, who beat her by 5 lengths in the grade 2 Goldenrod. Brennan Walsh and Tyler Gaffalione in grade stakes in the last 3 years. They don't win, but they're 6 out of 7 in the money. So that's 86%. I think she could definitely get third, maybe even second. So I'm going to do a part wheel exacta Power Squeeze on top of Candied, Intricate, and also your Neon Icon. So that'll be my play. All right. Well, let's move on now to the most prestigious race in Canada. It's the 165th running of the $1 million King's Plate, the first leg of the Canadian Triple Crown. The second leg is the Prince of Wales Stakes on dirt at Fort Erie Racetrack, and then the third leg is the Breeder Stakes in October at Woodbine on the turf. So the King's Plate, it's 1.25 miles on the Tapeta at Woodbine for 3-year-olds foaled in Canada. Big field of 13 here last year. We saw Paramount Prince win for Canadian Hall of Fame trainer Mark Casse with Patrick Husbands aboard. Casse has 3 entries this year. I think he's got a pretty good chance, but let's see what we can come up with. Let's see if we can find a winner.
Well, I like this race. I always like this race, even though it's restricted to Ontario breds. It's fascinating to watch the horses coming in, especially off the plate trial. And in the last 15 years, this race has been won 5 times by fillies. And it is really interesting to see. Kevin Attard's got 4. Cassie's got 3. Attard won 2 years ago with Moira. Casse won last year, as you mentioned. They've won it a few times. The only filly in the race is Caitlin Her Greatness, number 4, at 12-1 in the morning line. And that's my top pick. Essex Serpent for Casse, the 3 at 2-1, and My Boy Prince for Casse, the 7 at 7-5 are horses I think can win. I'll use them in exotics here and in multi-race plays. But Caitlin Her Greatness fits the exact pattern of the 5 fillies that have won. Moira in 2022, who won the Oaks. Wonder Godot in 2018, second in the Oaks. Holy Helena, 2018. Holy Helena the year before in 17 won the Oaks. Lexi Liu in 14 won the Oaks, and Inglorious in 2011 won the Oaks. And Caitlin Her Greatness almost won the Oaks. And we're going to pull up a video and I'll talk through it in a second. But she was the 3-1 lukewarm favorite in that field of 14. And she got the 10 post. So she's wide the entire way. And we're going to pick it up. I forgot what I said here, right? About the 1 minute mark.
Yeah, about the 1 minute.
And she's going to be the 10 horse in the white with the green. So she's sitting 4th right now in the 10. And she's going to start to move up just slowly. Rafael Hernandez ridden her in every race. Last year she ran on dirt. This was actually her first race ever on all weather, which is interesting for an Attard trained horse. But she was trained by Pletcher 4 races till 2 races ago, and then went to Attard. She won a race on the grass, then this. And you can see she's moving up. Now, the winner of the 4 is going to be kind of boxing in the yellow, who's now 4th, Kins Concerto. And while the 10 is in a drive, Kins Concerto was just waiting and drafting, and she's going to come all the way out and make the move. At this point, anybody watching the race would think Caitlin Her Greatness has the race won as the 3-1 favorite. And she's going to just run really hard to the wire, and Kins Concerto is going to get up and beat her by a neck. The reason I mention that is because I mentioned before, Wonder Godot was second in the Oaks in 2018 to come back to win. She gets 5 pounds, of course, being a filly against the boys. But this is a great race because she gets the 4 post instead of the 10. Hernandez rides her back. She's got a nice 5 furlong workout since, actually 2 workouts, a 58-3 bullet. Bullet. And then that nice minute flat, a little slower to keep some energy in it. Horses coming to the Oaks do very well. She should not be 12-1. She's got the right style to sit off whoever goes here. Likely Roar of the Crowd is a stretching out horse off a sprint, so she's going to go. And then the Cassie, Essex Serpent, My Boy Prince are going to take up stalking positions. Caitlin Her Greatness should be right behind them. At 12-1, I can't resist her. So Caitlin Her Greatness is my top pick. Probably my best bet of the day, to be honest, in terms of best play of the day. Essex Serpent and My Boy Prince have to be used in exotics. Again, similar to the last race, key the long shot. And I'm going to box Caitlin Her Greatness and Essex Serpent, box Caitlin Her Greatness and My Boy Prince in exactas in case she runs second. And that's how I see the King's Plate.
I love it. Well, I am rooting for you, especially at 12-1, and hard not to like the fillies against the boys. And you never know, she might even be a little higher than 12-1. But yeah, I agree with you with the Cassie's Essex Serpent and My Boy Prince. I just don't see anybody beating these two. I'm going to put Essex Serpent over My Boy Prince. They'll probably both be heavily favored, but I would assume that My Boy Prince will take the edge at a slightly lower odds. But yeah, I mean, the main reason is Patrick Husbands right now. I mean, he's winning stakes like crazy. Cassie and Husbands win at 30% in non-graded stakes races in the past 3 years. This horse loves Woodbine, 2 wins and 1 second from just 3 starts. Started his life at that sprint distance, but most recently won that Grade 3 Marine Stakes going a mile and 16th. I think he's in a perfect position to kind of get closer to the front early. He's been able to win off the lead and win on a stalking pace as well. But yeah, I think we just have yet to see the best of Essex Serpent. My Boy Prince beat him by 4.5 lengths in that Queenston Stakes in the second start of his life, but he really only had one maiden special weight before that race, and he also had a pretty awkward break. Was second to last for a majority of that race. So I just think this horse has a ton of potential for Mark Cassidy. So I'm going to go with her or him over My Boy Prince, and obviously My Boy Prince, just hard not to like that horse. Really done nothing wrong. I mean, got 5 wins and 1 second on the Woodbine all weather. Just 4 losses out of 10 starts, but 2 of those were in Grade 1s in the Grade 1 Summer and the Grade 1 Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf, where he finished second and third respectively. He's beaten 6 out of the 12 other horses in this field already. He's never been at this distance, but last time going out in a mile and 1/8 in the all-weather was no issue. He won that plate trial stakes by 1.25 lengths. Been breezing super well with essentially 4 bullets in a row. And he'll be heavily favored, rightfully so, but tough tough to make money with him on top, so I'm going to go with Essex Serpent. For my third pick, I think it's going to be a Cassie trifecta with Midnight Mascot, more in line of 10-1, coming in third. He ran third to both My Boy Prince and Essex Serpent in the last 2 starts. Savachi was on him last time, but obviously he's chosen to ride My Boy Prince. But he's a consistent horse, only ever running out of the money once in the Grade 3 Gray Stakes at Woodbine back in November of 2023. He's run 8 times at Woodbine and run in the money 7 of those times. 2 wins, 2 seconds, and 3/3. Nice late pace rating of a 99, which is ranked second this race. I think I'll make a big run at the end. So I'm just going to do a straight trifecta. I'm going to do Essex Serpent, My Boy Prince, Midnight Mascot, $10 straight. So that's going to be my play on Saturday.
I want to add one thing, though. Again, Essex Serpent certainly on speed figures and everything else fits because he's one of my picks. But what's interesting is the Marine itself has been a really poor historical prep for the King's Plate. Don't know why. Maybe it's a mile and 16th is why. But the plate trial horses and the Woodbine Oaks horses seem to do a lot better. I'm just saying that for everybody listening, just so you know that Essex Prince certainly looks like the best horse on paper. Done nothing wrong, especially with husbands riding it for Cassie. But there is always a concern about stepping all the way up from mile and 16th to mile and a quarter. And this race, again, historically, most of the winners have come out of the Oaks or the plate trial. I don't know why, but just something about the race.
No, that's a fantastic point. No, it's going to be a fantastic race. I'm excited to watch. But all right, so our final race of the day is the Grade 1 Del Mar Oaks at Del Mar, going 1 1/8 on the turf for 3-year-old fillies. Big weekend for 3-year-olds across North America on Saturday. They got a field of 8, Phil D'Amato with 3 entries, very similar to that yellow ribbon handicap that we went over last Saturday. Last year's winner was Anisette for trainer Leonard Powell and Umberto Rispoli in the saddle, as we just saw Anisette take that Grade 2 yellow ribbon handicap last Saturday as a heavy favorite. So who do you like here?
Well, it's a great race, first of all, because most of the horses are stakes winners or take place in their last 2. And I know D'Amato's got a bunch. I'm not picking any of D'Amato's here. And I respect him greatly. And I'll talk about some of the knocks as well as not just giving out the picks. The picks in order are going to be Buchu, the 5, Medoro, the 6, Whiskey Decision, the 3. Buchu comes out of not arguably, absolutely the best race of any horse. Comes out of the Grade 1, $600,000, I believe, Belmont Oaks Invitational on July 6th, won by Cinderella's Dream, who came back a month later to win the Saratoga Oaks. The third finisher, She Feels Pretty, is running in the Grade 2 Lake Placid on Saturday. And the fourth finisher is a nice horse named Pit Up Betty, who won the Regret at Churchill on June 1st and just missed by a nose in the pucker up last week at Ellis Park. Buchu's been running against some really nice horses, but best of all, she's got 3 races with 100 plus Equibase speed figures. A 106 winning the Appalachian back in April in her 3-year-old debut, a 104 2 later beaten 2, even though she was 6 in the Edgewood, and a 104 in the Belmont Oaks beaten 4. Only other horses that have gone above the 100 threshold here, Circle of Trust with a 101 from the Honeymoon, and Sea Dancer with 100 in an allowance race back in March. Buchu basically wins this race, repeating any of her last efforts against this competition. It looks like on paper. And Martin Garcia, who folks remember wrote a lot of winners for Baffert, including a Derby winner many years ago. Mostly now he's in Kentucky and he's riding for a lot of people, but he does really good for Phil Bauer. He's been up for all 3 of Buchu's wins. So just on figures, she exits the strongest race, and it looks like a key race as well. Like I said, even though a second horse hasn't come back to win yet, I got Buchu on top. Now, Medoro is interesting, and we're going to look at the video because the short comment, and people really, when you handicap, pay attention to the comments and the PPs and look at the video, or at least look at the chart and the footnote, because the chart callers around the country do an exceptional job of notifying us. This short comment says step slow, bumped, boxed, second. And We'll look at this here. Medoro, I believe, is going to be the 10, if I remember correctly. And she's a 2-1. Yep, 2-1 second choice in the purple and gold CRK colors. And we can start it now. And what's going to happen is she's, of course, from that 9 post, she's going to be moving up here on the outside. She's going to be passed for a second, but she's still in a great position. She's going to wait. But unfortunately, in waiting, what happens is maybe it's a jockey decision. She's in the gold cap. He gets a little boxed in. Then she comes out. Now, by this time, the horses in front, Ice Cream You Scream has a dream trip on the rail, the 6, and the other horse is way ahead. And now she's just starting to get that stride going. It's going to be too late to do any good because they're all in full stride. And she's going to be beaten a lot of length and 3/4 at the end. But it was a really good race. She won her 4 races in a row, all 4 starts before that, including the Blue North, the China Doll, and the Providencia Stakes. Providencia was at this 1.8-mile trip, and Freysu rode her in all 5 of those races. He rode Circle of Trust to win the Honeymoon on June 1st in her last start, and picks Medoro to ride, obviously. And I think with a good trip, she could run well. Now, she's nowhere near the speed figures. Her best is 194, but I think she's going to run a career best race. The morning line's not out yet, so I don't know what it's going to be, but she's a strong second pick and a horse I'd probably bet to win at probably 4-1 or more. Third pick's Whiskey Decision, shipping in from the East Coast. She's been training at Fair Hills in Maryland for a really good trainer, Arnaud Delacour. Anybody that follows racing around the country knows Delacour. This year he's winning at 20%. He gets a lot of good horses. Again, her first race was a sprint, doesn't count. She stretched out to a mile. She won by 6. She stretched out to mile 16th and moved to grass. She won by 5. And then she won the Christiana Stakes at Delaware, which was Lasix off, which will be for here. So we know that's a problem. She picks up Umberto Rispoli, the fighting for Hernandez all the time. Hernandez is the best jockey in the colony, which says a lot about his agent seeing it. And she's got a 95 last time out. All the other horses are good, but Ice Cream You Scream could control the pace, but she's going a mile and 1.8. She got the Dream Trip last out. Circle of Trust hasn't been seen since June. It's a little too long for me when you got horses that have run as well most recently. And the others finished behind them. Zona Verde was second behind Ice Cream You Scream. No knock. I think she could hit the board. Sakura Blossom was 4th behind Ice Cream You Scream, and Sea Dancer was 8th behind Ice Cream You Scream. So for me, it's Buchu, Medoro, Whiskey Decision. I'm very strong on all 3 and Exacta Box, and I'm going to bet 1 or 2 of them to win in the Del Mar Oaks.
Oh, fantastic! That's funny. You and I have noticed a lot of similar notes for Medoro and Whiskey Decision. I absolutely love Medoro. This filly just loves to win, as you said. 4 wins from 5 starts. The third last time out, she had that troubled break, broke dead last. What I did love in that race, I think we started a little bit past it, but she made that interesting move on the inside, splitting foes, and just kind of got right up towards the front. I think she needed that race. I mean, I think she learned a lot, and she was coming at the end, stride for stride. Prior to that San Clemente, she beat that number 4 Zona Verde twice, and Peter Urton and Antonio Frezu went at 20% together in graded stakes, and she's 1 for 1 at this 1.8-mile distance. That's gonna be my top play of the day. I'm gonna do 20 to win on Medoro, straight up. But underneath for second, I do like Ice Cream You Scream. I don't think she's going to win because I don't think she's going to get that dream trip, like you said. But she is undefeated in her 3 starts, including a win in that Grade 2 San Clemente. She's ranked first in average class and average speed this race. Diamato and Hector Barrios winning a 30% clip in graded stakes races at Del Mar in the past 3 years. We don't have a morning line yet, but I would assume this horse is going to be way over bet. I would even say close to 1-1, but I do think she'll be up there. I just don't think she will win. My third, I'm going to go with Whiskey Decision. Obviously, Umberto Rispoli is killing it right now. He's won 5 of 11 stakes races in the past 30 days. That's 45% on a $2 ROI of $2.49. Increasing speed, Equibase figures of every start of his life. Since 1991, trainer Arnaud Delacour wins at 22% with horses with 3 increasing speed figures, 14 wins from 63 starts. Been breezing well, too, at Fairhill since her last start on July 8th at Delaware. I don't think she'll win, and she has a lot of potential, but I definitely like her underneath, especially for a price play. But we'll see what these morning lines will be when they come out. But for me, it's all Medoro, $20 to win. So... all right, everybody. Well, that is our show for this week. So thank you so much for watching and listening to another episode of the Inside Track Podcast. Good luck in all of your wagers, and we'll see you next week. Thank you, Ellis.
Thanks very much, everybody. Go make some money this weekend.